Right now at 4, Twitter trouble for the Fort Bend County Sheriff, the fake account that's causing commotion, and why this isn't the only social media firestorm the sheriff is facing. And is the HISD budget so bad the district may stop cleaning schools as often? The big cuts that could affect your kids. And a toddler gets into trouble when he tries a little too hard to get a toy out of a claw machine. The news starts now.
But first, we are starting with breaking news. Another bad day for the stock market. The Dow Jones plunging 1,000 points, and that brings the index now down 10% from the record it reached 2 weeks ago. Worries about inflation last Friday setting all this into motion. And our other top story, Fort Bend County Sheriff Troy Nehls is still dealing with the backlash from a situation that started back in November.
Yeah, you remember that F Trump bumper sticker on the back of a woman's truck? Well, since that incident, the sheriff says he has received hundreds of phone calls and hate emails. Now someone is impersonating him on social media, and an Austin newspaper quoted a fake tweet in an article. Janelle Bluda live to explain how this all happened.
Well, Nell says he's not upset about the tweet. He's actually happy they caught it early. He says what's really the problem is when these people attack his family.
It's got the same pictures, the same name. It's basically the same person, right?
You know, you're going to have those individuals that are going to find a way to try to, take something I think that can be meaningful and good for the community and totally spin it around and try to impersonate me. And that's exactly what happened.
Even tweeting about voting lines, it's hard to tell the difference between the fake Sheriff Troy Nehls and the real one. It was even hard for the Austin American-Statesman, who yesterday even quoted the fake sheriff in their article, using his fake tweet, "We just shoot people like that in my department."
I never said such a thing.
The Statesman has since issued a correction and even apologized to the sheriff.
If you continue to monitor your social media, throughout the day, I think you're going to be able to catch things like this.
But he says it's just part of the never-ending reign of hatred.
They're going to work overtime to impeach my sorry
and criticism coming down on the sheriff of Fort Bend County.
They're from everywhere else but Fort Bend County.
He says he's received dozens of letters.
You racist, Republican, repugnant bastard.
Hundreds of phone calls and tens of thousands of messages about his involvement in the attempt to remove this woman's bumper sticker, which he believes is offensive.
If you have an opposing view, in America today, we can't even have a meaningful conversation anymore.
But he says when the hatred touches his family, that's when it's going too far.
Making comments about the 3 daughters, wanting to do things with some of them, just totally sick people, quite honestly. And it's a sad state of affairs.
Nell says he's received a postcard as recently as yesterday, but the backlash has calmed down over the past few months, and that fake Twitter account has been removed. Rekha?
Wow. All right. Thank you, Janelle. A former Prairie View City Councilman is demanding answers, speaking out at City Hall today after charges were dropped against a former police officer who used a taser on him and arrested him. You may remember this incident from October 2015. Video of Jonathan Miller's arrest outside his home went viral. He and his fraternity brothers were practicing a step routine there. At the time, former Officer Kelly said Miller had refused to follow police commands.
Nothing is off the table now when it comes to proposed budget cuts at HISD, from reducing bus routes to laying off staff. Jason Miles live outside HISD headquarters, where some employees have protested these possible changes. So, Jason, what is the deal there?
Yeah, Jason, there was a protest out here in front this morning. There's a school board meeting inside this evening, and budget cuts, proposed budget cuts, are front and center. I got to talk one-on-one with HISD School Board President Rhonda Skillern-Jones. She tells me the district is facing a $208 million deficit. It's looking at everything from reducing bus routes, restructuring the magnet program, to laying off cafeteria and custodial staff. The local support personnel union, the folks who clean these school buildings, showed up this morning especially concerned about those costs, or those cuts, I should say. It could mean schools only get cleaned 3 times a week rather than every day.
You're going to have maggots and flies, everything running all in the schools. Even just cleaning the school once a day, they can't keep the school clean.
What we are going to be able to do is meet the minimum needs, and everything above that is not going to be possible.
It is important to keep in mind that a final budget will not be voted on until May or June, so there is plenty of time to learn more about it and speak out about it. For instance, more than 60 people have signed up to speak during tonight's board meeting, basically the first time the proposed budget is coming up during a meeting, coming up at 5 and 6. Much more on the proposed cuts, and hear from one parent who is particularly concerned. Back to you.
We are looking forward to that. Thank you, Jason.
A devastating discovery for a local man after finding out it was his wife who was killed in a crash this morning on Almeida Road. Police have not released the victim's name, but say she was driving a gray Volvo and swerved into oncoming lanes of traffic. An 18-wheeler hit the Volvo, then swerved into a white pickup truck. The victim's husband suspected the worst when his wife didn't answer her phone, so he drove down to the scene. The other two drivers involved in that crash are doing okay. A fugitive captured in the Canadian woods in the middle of winter. Now back in Houston. Authorities extradited Amir Khan back to the U.S. today. The Harris County DA's office says he faces charges for sexually assaulting a teenage girl. Authorities believe he was in Canada with his wife and son, trying to make his way back to his native Pakistan. He could spend as many as 20 years in prison for this alleged crime.
Time for weather. Looks pretty refreshing today. No rain like yesterday. We'll always take that.
Yeah, so Brooks, are we going to stay dry for the rest of the evening?
Yes, but we will see clouds on the increase and it will remain cool. So as you're heading out, maybe taking that dog walk or letting the cat out in the backyard, you may want to bundle up a little bit out there. We've got a southerly flow aloft, but at the surface, it's still a northeast wind, so it's still chilly outside. The sunshine of this morning gone. Definitely sweatshirt weather, even light jacket weather if you're heading out later on this evening. Going to Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scout cookie season in full effect right now, by the way. That's a fun time of year. 57 in Houston right now, 53 El Campo. But notice on the north side, it's actually warmer. That's because they've had sunshine a lot longer. Conroe's had a pretty beautiful day today, while Friendswood and maybe League City have been under the clouds for most of the day. 54 by 7, 52 by 9, and 50 by 10. 10% chance for a sprinkle, but the rain's holding off for now. That changes, though, this weekend. Big, wet changes coming your way, guys.
It's like no one cares. We don't even care about our own community, and I know that's not true.
People in 3rd Ward saying enough is enough. They are banding together to clean up garbage around the neighborhood.
They say illegal dumping is a serious issue there, and Stephanie Whitfield is showing us what people in the neighborhood are now doing.
This is what people are sick of seeing. Trash piled up all over their neighborhood. It's everywhere, lining ditches, stuck in fences, and littering empty lots.
It's very disturbing. It's heartbreaking. It's like no one cares.
Debbie White says the garbage has gotten out of hand in 3rd Ward, but she isn't the only neighbor who does care.
No matter if you're a homeowner or a renter or a visitor to the neighborhood, nobody wants to see, trash laying around.
That's why community leaders are organizing an effort to clean up. On the last Saturday of this month, 3rd Ward residents will be armed with gloves, trash bags, and as many helpers as they can get.
Children have to pass through here and walk through here and go through this trash when they go home. That's not fair for them.
Illegal dumping isn't fair for anyone. That's how neighbors believe piles like this pop up. They're asking for police to help with that problem. But in the meantime, these residents are doing their part.
Enough is enough. We are serious about keeping 3rd Ward clean, and we will no longer accept illegal dumping in our community.
You know the saying, many hands make light work, so this group is looking for volunteers. If you'd like to help, the cleanup event will be on February 24th, and we'll have all the information on our website, KHOU.com. In 3rd Ward, Stephanie Whitfield, KHOU 11 News.
Thank you, Stephanie.